The January transfer window is here again, so let's look at one player each team in the Premier League could sign. These will either be based on the club being linked to the player or a recommendation of mine. In alphabetical order, we start with Arsenal, who need to add more creativity into their side for sure, no doubt about it. A great option for them would be Buendia from Norwich City, a player that proved himself in the Premier League and is continuing to perform well again in the Championship. He's a player that has a very high work rate and attempted 791 pressures last season, the 9th most in the Premier League. A player that would be able to press from the front in the Arsenal team and as such be effective in this role. And he proved himself to be very good on the ball for Norwich too. He had the 4th most successful dribbles with 102 and the 4th most key passes. A player that would change Arsenal completely due to his high work rate and attacking qualities. I'm sure they'll be looking to add some sort of attacking creative quality, but will it be Buendia? The transfer window at Arsenal will definitely be an interesting one. The next player to move out of Brentford and the next to reunite with Dean Smith could be Rico Henry. Henry played under Dean Smith at both Walsall and Brentford, and Aston Villa could be where they meet once again. A fullback that is perfect for how teams want to play now, an energetic player able to make the left flank his own with great pace. He's well rounded in the fact that he can be effective in attack and defend well for the team too. Good on the ball qualities, being able to dribble well, 18 successful dribbles so far this season, but what allows him to be able to affect the game in both departments is the pace that he has, which would make a huge difference for Villa on the left. They've signed Matty Cash at right back, who's been fantastic so far, proving how good he is defensively with his tackling ability. Henry could have the same effect on the left, but in contrast be able to show how good he is in attack. Villa are doing very well this season, and the addition of Henry could really keep them at a high level. Before the next one, if you could leave a like on the video, it does help the channel and it will be very much appreciated. Now, apologies to Brighton fans expecting to see a different player linked to their club. I've sort of cheated with this one, but this window could finally see Percy Tau get a work permit and be allowed to play in the Premier League. For some of you who know about Percy Tau, it might be exciting because of how long the wait has been to get him in this Brighton side. Signing in 2018, he's never made an appearance in the Premier League, but with the change of work permit rules, according to some reports, it seems likely he'll be able to get one. Manager Graham Potter has confirmed that this is something they're looking to do, so definitely keep an eye on it. He's currently on loan at Belgian side Anderlecht and is able to be recalled in January. He was part of the title winning side at Club Brugge last season, being a player that helped the team by playing wherever needed. And this is what Graham Potter will love about Percy Tau, the fact that he's so versatile, something that is big for him with his flexible style of play. He's got good speed about him and is a player who can press well, suiting the intensity of Brighton. Not exactly a signing, but it may as well be with him not playing 1 minute of Premier League football up to now. Recently linked to Burnley is Manchester United centre-back Phil Jones. If you told their new arrivals like Cavani, Telles, Van der Beek that there was a player named Phil Jones playing for their club, they'd probably be surprised. He's not been around the first team for what seems like years, but he is still there, and a move away from the club has to come sooner rather than later. It's a move that might see Manchester United pay a part of his wages in order to move him on, which would make complete sense. Burnley need depth in this position, and I could see Sean Dyche using Jones well in his team. A good move for Burnley and a good move for Phil Jones most of all, to finally get some game time and feel like he's part of the first team somewhere. Transfer windows go by with each one feeling like it's finally time for him to depart United, but maybe this is the one. Now with Chelsea, there's one name being linked over and over from the summer and is continuing in January, and that is West Ham United midfielder Declan Rice. To be fair, when I look at the Chelsea team and I see the players that they have with Kante and Kovacic and Jorginho, I do question why Rice is needed. I personally feel like the Chelsea squad is good enough, especially with all the players that they bought in the summer, plus Declan Rice isn't going to come cheap. West Ham really don't want to let him go. They're playing well and he's a star man in their midfield. He's proven himself to be a midfielder with good defensive qualities and now and again showing his good passing ability too. It is of course understandable why Chelsea would want him. He is a good player. With some reports that you see, you feel that this move is inevitable and it will happen, but is he really what Chelsea need? Is he worth spending all this money on him? I don't think that's where their problems lie, but let's see what moves Chelsea make in January. For Crystal Palace, I've gone with someone that you may or may not have heard of, but they have been linked to the club in recent reports, and it's Norwegian striker Kasper Junker. He does play in the Norwegian First Division for Bodo Glimt, who won the league this year, only losing one game and scoring 103 goals. And he was a massive part of that success, a prolific goal scorer, incredible stats this season, scoring 27 and assisting 11 in 25 matches. Now straight away the question that you do ask is, can he play this way in the Premier League? And of course I don't think he'd produce these kind of numbers, however, scoring this many suggests that there is significant quality in the player, and they wouldn't have scored this many many goals or got that many assists as a fluke. In the summer when Batshuayi signed, we imagined that he'd have a bigger impact. However, in the Premier League for Crystal Palace this season, no goals. Benteke has been better this season, so with two strikers already there, competing for the same spot, maybe they won't be in the market for another. However, it's the lack of goals from Batshuayi that makes me think they will go in for somebody, and possibly it'll be Kasper Junker. At Everton, the player that I've got here, somebody that has been linked recently, and that is Dele Alli on an 18-month loan. Currently at Tottenham, it seems like he's out of favour with the manager Jose Mourinho, and a move in January is seeming increasingly likely. When you type in Dele Alli and have a look at the reports surrounding him, there seem to be many clubs that are after him. Even though we haven't seen the form from him recently, we know what he's capable of when he first joined Tottenham and he was firing in the Premier League as one of the better young players. I think for me this signing would be a similar one to Ross Barkley to Aston Villa, an attacking midfielder not getting too much game time at the club they were currently at. They signed for a different club and find their feet again. Everton have also had reports to Real Madrid's Isco, so it looks like Ancelotti is working his wonders again and signing some former players, which he could easily go out and do. We saw who he brought in the summer, and he could bring in some different players in January as well. But maybe Dele Alli is a good option on an 18-month loan deal. Clubs aren't looking to spend too much this window, and I think Everton will be the same. The next club to look at is Fulham, and a name that I've got linked to them is Josh King. A move in January away from Bournemouth seems inevitable for Josh King. He said how he wants to play at a higher level, so a Premier League club might look to sign him. The thing is, Bournemouth could be promoted and the club that he signs for could go down again, but many clubs have been linked to the Norwegian striker. One of them being Fulham, who are in the market for a player in this position. They have been playing better football recently, and a striker that could be a reliable goal scorer could turn their draws into wins. I really like Josh King as a player, great athletic ability and goal scoring experience in the Premier League. In a team that has now improved with creating chances, Josh King could be a top addition to put some chances away. I expect a move to happen, but predicting where it will be is a tough one to call. A name being linked to Leeds United is Fiorentina midfielder Eric Pulgar. The 26-year-old central midfielder was really impressive last season, and he seems to be the hard-working type of player that Bielsa would love. He was Fiorentina's best creative asset last season with 84 key passes, which was the fourth most in the Serie A. Pulgar also made the most tackles for Fiorentina with 73, and 49 interceptions was the second most. As you can tell from that, he can do it all, and he wants to do it all. Energetic in the centre of the pitch, being able to affect the match as a whole, and with that, he'd suit Leeds United. He's a set-piece specialist too, so he can contribute very well in this department for Leeds. There is a lot of talk about him joining. We'll find out in the next month whether Leeds make a move or not. At Leicester City, I see right wing as a position where the Foxes can look to improve. They got Under on loan in the summer, but he's been in and out of the team and not exactly forcing his way into the side. I can't see this as a deal that can realistically go through, but Ismaila Sarr from Watford would be a good fit. We saw glimpses of the player he can become when he was in the Premier League, and he's now showing his quality in the Championship. He's made the 5th most successful dribbles with 36, and 27 shots on goal is the most for Watford. Usually seen as a right winger, but he's also been used as a striker earlier on in the season for Watford, but now under a different manager we might not see this side of him anymore. To me it does seem like more of a deal that would happen in the summer. Watford will be desperate for promotion, and Sarr is a huge part of that. I already think it's going to be hard to prize him away from the Championship club. Ben White has been linked to many clubs recently, so he could have been the player for a lot of clubs in this video, but Liverpool is the one that makes a little more sense. Due to their troubles in this position with the injury to Van Dijk and Matip and Gomez being injured too, so a move for Brighton centre-back Ben White could be a good move for them. Brighton won't be selling cheap though. Leeds tried to get him back after his loan expired and weren't successful in doing so, and they had good reason to keep him and wait until a big bid came in for Ben White. He's a quality prospect and a centre-back who is comfortable on the ball and will look to pass higher up the pitch. That's why we've seen Potter use him in the middle and on the flanks because of his quality and finding the right pass. This is what clubs look for in centre-backs in the modern game, so that's why it's being looked at by many clubs. Paying the amount that Brighton demand is one problem, but also beating the competition to Ben White is another. Manchester City are reported to be looking for a left-back, and one they could look at is Tagliafico from Ajax. It is a bit surprising that he's still at the club after being told he was free to leave. With the move not happening in the summer and him being up for sale, Man City shouldn't have to look any further than the Argentinian. Most importantly for City, he can offer a threat going forward. Pep spent millions on fullbacks and Tagliafico could be the next one, to compete alongside Mendy and Cancelo, who's been playing in that position lately. According to one report, the new contract he signed could include a clause that'd allow him to leave. Pep usually denies that transfer moves will be made, but let's see whether this is one that can go through. There are a few reports that Manchester United are looking for another right back, someone in a different style to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It was Kieran Trippier being linked at first, but after he's been banned for a period of time, the deal doesn't look likely to go through, so the next name being mentioned is Norwich City City's Max Aarons, a player who has been linked to many Premier League clubs. He's definitely the type of right back they should target, someone more attacking, good on the ball and wants to get high up the pitch. We've seen him at Norwich City time after time providing a run on the overlap as he attempts to get the ball into the box. This is what Manchester United need to balance on the right side. Someone who can stretch the opposition and hold the width on the right flank. This is why Aarons would be a good signing for United. If they don't sign a right back, then I think they should start giving Ethan Laird some game time, but possibly Max Aarons is someone that they're looking at. For Newcastle United, someone that I've recommended them to sign is Josh Da Silva. Now, I don't think this is one that is too likely to happen, but it is a signing that would improve Newcastle United. In central midfield, I think they need someone who can offer more going forward. We know that Steve Bruce wants defensive stability, but they need to be better in the middle of the pitch as they look to transition. Josh Da Silva has been one of the star players in Brentford's team this season, which I'm sure has made many clubs put him on their radar. He has the 6th most successful dribbles in the Championship with 34. He's also assisted 3 times and got 27 key passes from central midfield. A player with flair and the mindset of taking on the opposition and attempting to play a pass that can put someone through on goal. Josh Da Silva will probably be in the Premier League soon, maybe with Brentford, but Newcastle should be looking at him or somebody similar in that position. A player that looks to be leaving Manchester United soon is Jesse Lingard, and there is some talk that Sheffield United would take him. What Lingard would give the Blades is energy and tenacity to the midfield. He's good at pressing the opposition and always working hard for the team. The difficult thing for Sheffield United at the moment is that it looks to be over for them already. It's hard to see a realistic way back for them. But to at least get some points before the end of the season and to keep some sort of chance alive, Lingard might give them something extra. In possession, he's a player that likes to link up play with short, clever passes, creating a scoring chance quickly to put someone through on goal. This would be a loan deal, and it's a signing that I personally can see happening in January. Southampton have been linked to Manchester United fullback Brandon Williams in what would be a loan move. They need backup at right back to Walker-Peters, and Williams would be a great fit in this Southampton team. An energetic fullback that can play on either side if needed, but being right-footed will be more suited to the right flank. We know how demanding Hasenhüttl's style of play is, and Williams would fit right into this. He's got a feisty and aggressive side to him where he'll show his passion and commitment to the game, a player that will give everything. The fullbacks play a big part in this team, looking to hold width and play clever passes either into the box or into the half spaces for the wingers. Williams isn't really getting minutes in the United team this season, so a loan move does make sense. It seems quite likely to go through in January, so let's see how this move pans out. A report came out recently that Tottenham were looking at Marcel Sabitzer from RB Leipzig to join in January. When you think of Dele Alli, who we mentioned before, not being favoured by Mourinho, a move for Sabitzer could make sense to replace him in the team. He's a versatile player who has played attacking midfield and central midfield as well as out wide for RB Leipzig. Playing at central midfield recently, he's become a little more defensive, doing more pressing in a central position and not getting as many goals and assists than he did previously. It was reported that this deal could amount to £45 million, so it'd mean big money to be spent in January. It's hard to say if this is a deal that could happen, but with how close the league is what Mourinho demands in the market, the board might meet because it might just give them that edge in the second half of the season. With Sam Allardyce in charge of West Brom now, he'll be looking at the transfer window to get some players that can suit his system. I'd imagine that they'll be looking at loan deals in January, and a player that they have been linked to is Manchester United's Dan James. A deal that I could see going through with United getting Amad Diallo in January. With the departure of Dan James, maybe this is the way that they can slowly bed Diallo into the team. Dan James would be a good signing for West Brom. Ali likes Dan James because of his work rate and defensive capability too, which is why Sam Allardyce would like him as well. Counter-attacking with Dan James in the team becomes a lot easier. His incredible pace can get the ball up the field very quickly, and even though I don't think he has the end product and composure to make a good pass in the final third, he could still make the difference for West Brom. This one will depend on Manchester United and if they're open to letting him leave. With an injury to Antonio and Haller not in great goal-scoring form, West Ham may be looking to get another striker in. Boulaye Dia has been linked to them recently, a Senegalese striker playing in the French First Division. He's a player in great form this season, scoring 10 goals in 15 league appearances along with 1 assist. He was wanted by Brighton in the summer and he confirmed that a bid was made for him. He said that an agreement couldn't be reached but said, "I'd like to experience England and the Premier League. All players dream of playing in the Premier League one day and I'm one of those players." But also being cautious, saying that there's no point making the move just for the experience of it. You need to move when you're ready, when you've proven yourself, when you show consistency. Maybe now is the right time. West Ham are in demand of a striker and he's showing good form. One to keep an eye on as the transfer window progresses. With Raul Jimenez out for an extended period of time, a striker joining Wolves seems highly likely. A recent report from The Athletic said that they've inquired for Luka Jovic on loan from Real Madrid, a player that was linked to Manchester United in the summer but they opted for Edinson Cavani instead. He's still yet to find any kind of form at Real Madrid, this season not really getting the opportunity to by only playing 200 minutes so far this season. It's a move that makes a lot of sense. Jovic will want game time and Wolves only want someone to come in for the end of the season. A player that is great at finding space and being in the right position. Being surrounded by players with incredible pace such as Pedro Neto and Podence could be a quality link-up. What does stand out with Jovic is that he's comfortable with both feet. I really want to see him in the Premier League to get a greater understanding of him as a player and to see whether he can produce the goods in the Premier League. It doesn't seem like he has too much of a future at Real Madrid. Wolves may not want to sign him permanently anyway. But if he was to show he could play good here, then it'd definitely alert other clubs who are looking for a striker. Comment below who do you want to see join the Premier League in January and I'll reply with my thoughts. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.